I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
Hi, welcome to Watchman of the King channel. My name is Dan. This channel is designed to give you news and events from around the globe, looking at them through a biblical lens. And I do this because I believe Jesus Christ is returning any moment to rapture out his bride and take out the church. And it will kick off the 7-year tribulation and the next phase in God's timeline. Okay, we've been living in an age of grace, the church age, the time of the Gentiles. You know, we've been living in this situation now for 2,000 years. Okay, the Jewish nation ended at 70 A.D. and it returned to the land in 1948, a little bit before then, but they declared themselves a nation, called themselves Israel again in 1948. So that was the kickoff of God's timepiece, I believe, his stopwatch. Now, many things have happened since then. Think of everything that has occurred. Just since 1948, we went from within just a few hundred years, horse and buggy, to traversing the globe in less than a day in aircraft. Okay, so think of technology and where we've come to. And we're only talking about a span of 2 generations. That's not why I'm on today. I'm going to kick off and get back into what God called me to do with this channel originally, okay? So there's 2 things I'm going to do today. One, I'm going to cover a couple news items that I'm seeing. And then I did tease out last week that I needed to do something about narcissism, and you'll see why here in a minute. But first, let's cover some of the news, okay? I don't know if you all noticed within the past day, but we had a major earthquake in Turkey and Syria, okay? And there was an aftershock as well. But the death toll is well over 1,700 at this point in time. There's, a lot of casualty, but then just a ton of destruction. Okay, it was 7.8 on the Richter scale, and does that necessarily mean anything? I don't know. I'll be honest. We know that God said that there will be earthquakes in diverse places, okay? We know that earthquakes have been increasing in intensity and that they've been running around in places that don't normally have tremors and that kind of thing. So, and you'd have to look back and jump into that, but it's just a news article that kind of perked my interest this morning. Another one is just what we're seeing here at the Grammys. You have Sam Smith, openly homosexual, paired up with Kim something or another, who is a trans woman. It's a he. I'm sorry. It's a he that claims to be a she, grew out his hair and wears dresses and makeup. And then sings songs. Well, their song that they performed is called Unholy, which, literally that's the name of the song, Unholy. And their performance was just satanic. It just had to do with hell and the devil, and it's just, you don't want to go watch it if you didn't see it. If you saw it, I really hope it disturbed you, because this is where the world is going. We're seeing these things ramp up, whether it's a football. Hold on. See, I'm really into sports. I'm telling you. That's a joke. I'm being very sarcastic. Because I can't even think of the big football thing, and it's coming up next week. Super Bowl. There we go. Super Bowl halftime shows. Okay. They used to be decent, and now I wonder if they're just trying to get shock value. I wonder if they're trying to top each other. But we're seeing messaging in artsy performances to the masses, whether it's, again, at the Grammys or at the Super Bowl, or how about the opening performance at the World Games, that 70 nations. I'm not talking about the Olympics. I'm talking about the other thing in Britain. I covered that last year. That's in one of my videos. You know what? We've got to be paying attention to this stuff, because the world is going that direction. And as a watchman, I need to get back to doing more information about that and how that affects end times. I went, and I'm going to go wherever God leads me. I really am. That's why I have to talk about narcissism today, and you'll see why. But then the other one I want to talk about is balloons. We're talking about balloons all over the place. So China and its spy balloon that conveniently made it all the way across the United States, hovering for hours over strategic military bases. And we did nothing about it until it left the coast of North Carolina. So it came in at Alaska, but then left North Carolina, and we allowed it. Why is this even Bible prophetic? One, America's not in Bible prophecy at all. The strongest nation, who has been the friend to the Jews in Israel since its inception, is not in Bible prophecy. That should make someone, perk up, take notice, and go, wait, well, why? Well, one, because it's not about us. And two, I think it's because we're not going to be relevant. I think we're going to be, one, decimated probably by the rapture. But two, when things kick off, the U.S. may be irrelevant because, one, we've either destroyed ourselves from within, or God does what he's done in the past and sends our enemy in. So, because we're a nation who has left God, and I don't want to equate America to Israel, all right? It's not the same thing. We didn't have the covenants that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob did for their descendants. Now we have a lot of Jews in this country, and this country has prospered because we are one of those nations who has blessed Israel. as we start turning away from that, and as we start turning away from God, and as we're kicking him out of schools, as we're kicking him out of government, and as we're doing all these things against God, and basically partying down, we're elevating sin. This, let's take a look at pride, for example. We have a whole month dedicated to the sin that was original. Original sin is pride, okay? That was the fall, when pride was found in Lucifer, and he fell because he said he would exalt himself above the Most High, that he would be more than God, and that kind of thing. And that's a sense of your own self. So we're gonna kind of dovetail into narcissism here. Okay, but let's wrap up this thing with the nation. Could it be that this is just a kind of shot across the bow, a warning that our enemy is at our doorstep? That China has been infiltrating the United States, and we've been paying them. We've been buying up, we've been using them as cheap labor. Our corporations have, and then we send our money to them. They've become a powerhouse, and now they in turn are buying up our farmland. They're sending over their students to be educated in our school systems, in our very liberal school systems. It's fine, whatever. But we've got, could this be the beginnings of an invasion by our enemies? And you need to take note of what has happened in the past. Look at how Hitler started in areas like Poland. Look even further back, and how God used the enemies of Israel to punish them. The Assyrians took away the northern nation of Israel, and then the Babylonians took away the southwestern area of Judah. They didn't heed the warnings of God. And don't you think God's been sending us warnings? Don't you think 9/11 in 2001, that was a warning? Don't you think that worldwide there was a warning when a certain pandemic was unleashed on the world? So just remember, God uses, first he says, okay, I'm going to step back. I'm going to let them, they want what they want. I'm going to let them have it. They want what they want. They want their sin. So just let them have it. And we as a nation have ramped up our debased mind. So let's go back to pride. Pride is just one thing in 2 Timothy 3. And I didn't even have this prepped up at this moment to put in front of everybody. But 2 Timothy 3 says, "But know this, that in the last days perilous times will come, for men will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, unloving, unforgiving, slanderers, without self-control, brutal, despisers of good, traitors, headstrong, haughty, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, and having a form of godliness but denying its power. And from such people, turn away. The reason why I give you that scripture there, because to me that's narcissism wrapped up in a nutshell. Okay? People who are self-centered, selfish, that kind of thing. And why do I have to focus on narcissism? Even after I teased out that I had to talk about it, this past Wednesday, I was listening to a radio program, and I'm even going to mention the guy's name. You know, every Wednesday, it's called Relationship Wednesday on Moody Radio in my area. And their guest speaker is a Christian counselor. His name is Dr. David Clark. And he has things out there. He has a couple books. I Don't Want a Divorce and a couple other ones. And I'll be honest with you, I really don't care. I don't care. I think this guy is a wolf in sheep's clothing. The claim to be a Christian really came to bear. Because during this program, I listened to this guy get excited. They were discussing an old film where the term gaslighting came from. I don't even know the name of the film, but it was a 1944 film, and the term gaslighting came out of this. But it really got David excited to the point where he even on air, because it's a live show, said he really loves it when a narc gets theirs. And even the radio program folks, the hosts, backed up for a second and could hear it in their voice. She said, "Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord." And then the other host said, we got to back up here. We're not supposed to want people to get theirs. And here David's saying he lives for it. Then I listened to a question that was read to him by the host of the show. And it took 15 to 20 seconds to read this question about a 20-plus year marriage who she said they had gone to some counseling and the husband was just not taking it in and that kind of thing. And here this doctor, after hearing it for 15 to 20 seconds, with authority, proclaimed she needed to leave. That it was time to leave her abuser. Here, he doesn't know this person. He went off of 15 to 20 seconds of an explanation that there were some issues in the marriage, a 20-plus year marriage, that the husband claims to be Christian but doesn't really follow along. Man, does this sound normal? I mean, this is nearly every house USA where there's still a nuclear family. Are you telling me that there isn't problems in homes? But here you got this guy saying, oh, he sounds like a narcissist. He absolutely sounds this way. You need to leave him. I could not believe what I'm hearing. Okay, one, don't you think you should spend some time? You know what? If you're a Christian counselor, offer your services. Pro bono. Go in. I'm not going to charge you. I want to take your case. I want to listen to what you have to say. I want to see your husband. I want to, don't you think that would be something you would do first instead of immediately jumping to the next 5 minutes talking about how this woman needs to leave that man, take her children, make the plan, leave the marriage, because that will force the guy into making changes that he may not otherwise do. Does that sound Christ-like to you? I'm not advocating that people stay in an abusive relationship. I am saying this wolf over there, and I'm going to call it that. I'm going to rebuke this man publicly for saying that this person, without going deeper into their case and finding out the history, is giving advice over the air for people to immediately leave. Now, I'm going to hit on the word narcissism. Okay? We've already talked about 2 Timothy 3. But what does that do to you and I other than put a term on it? We're not putting a term on something that's in the Bible that says it's going to come. Okay? But we're putting a term on it. We're going to say these are narcissists. That is a narc. And we're going to put them on a spectrum, right? We're going to say, oh, well, we're all kind of, everybody's got narcissistic tendencies. But what does that do for you? If you're looking around you and you're labeling this person a narcissist or that person a narcissist based on things you have now in your head, you've done some research, you maybe have watched some videos, and you now are starting to pick apart people based on a word that is becoming so prevalent now. I mean, it's all over the place. I've heard this same David Clark get on Janet Parshall's show, and I'm still going to rebuke that. Okay? This guy should not be on any Christian radio anywhere. All right? It's based on what I heard this guy say and how it sounded like the host had to backpedal because he was heading into dangerous territory. Because even the host said, "Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord." Who are we to get excited? Is that Christ-like to get excited that somebody out there is getting theirs? No. That's not Jesus. Not at all. If you don't look around you, around this world, and say, there are two types of people. That's it. Two. And there's no labels for any of them. There are two types of people. They are the saved, and they are the lost. That's it. Nothing else. So now, if you're going to label someone near or around you or in your life a narcissist, and that they are an abuser, what does that make you? A victim? So now if you are a victim, I mean, does God want us sitting in a victim mentality? Does he want us sitting here, woe is me? Wah, somebody did something to me in this fallen world? Or are we supposed to give our issues, our problems, our cares, our worries, our everything to Christ? Look to him for all things. Think about it for a second. What did Christ ask? What did Jesus ask the man at Bethesda? Okay? He had been sitting near that pool for decades. And what did Jesus ask him? Do you want to be healed? Then the man went on to make excuses. He took on a victim mentality. So Jesus' question to him, do you want to be healed? That was a fair question. Maybe he didn't want to be healed. Maybe he wanted to wallow in his because that had become his identity. Don't let your identity become a victim because you've taken a term that we have now in our vocabulary called narcissism, and you have put that on someone else. Because guess what? There are two types of people: lost and saved. What are you and what are they? So if you are saved, which it's likely the case if you're on my channel and you're watching my videos, it's likely that you were probably saved. Very few are going to find my channel if they're not looking up Jesus or end times or that kind of stuff. Okay? If you're not saved, one, I have a video for that. And I link it to in every single video, I link it below. It's the salvation video that literally talks about 15 to 20 minutes of your life, talks about why you need to put your faith in Jesus Christ, who he was, what he did, and why it was for you. It was for each one of us individually. So if you're saved and you're watching this, and they're lost, and you're calling them a narc, and you're being a victim with them, that's, oh, I'm a victim. So how does that affect your thought process in praying for that person? How does that affect your thought process in caring for them? Because what is going to happen? You really need to take a step back and understand what really is going to happen. Those that are lost, those that reject Jesus Christ, those that will not accept his atoning work and the salvation he's provided, are going to eternally spend their time apart from him in a place that he had originally built for the fallen angels, that place called hell. Okay? Now for a second, think about your abuser or your narcissist in your life, the people that you're going to put these terms on. Think about that. That person who you are now not praying for, who you are now not engaging dialogue with, that person now is not getting your input. They're not getting what they need, the seeds you could be sowing, or the water you could be providing for God's increase. Because you've moved into a victim mentality. And you think they deserve God's judgment or whatever it is. Be very careful. Be very careful. I don't care how much schooling a person has out there. I don't care what PhDs. I don't care if they've got 6 or 7 doctorates. It's school. It's school, guys. They've done some study. No. Piled higher and deeper. PhD. Now, is some schooling out there required? Sure. Medical doctors, yes. But somebody out there just claiming to be a counselor, I don't know. I'm having a really hard time with this one, I'm telling you. And here's why. I'm going to give you a little background. I'll get a real short background. Had I followed, because I was listening to this guy for a little while and I got wrapped up, and I was listening to him, and there was another YouTube channel called The Royal We, and these people sit and talk about the victim mentality. They talk about abusers and that kind of stuff all the time. Narcissistic abusers. Didn't I just read to you 2 Timothy 3? So then God opened my eyes, because I was literally talking, I was calling people in my own life narcissistic. I looked at people and cut them out of my life and quickly moved away until God showed me, don't do that. That is today's term. That is psychobabble. Get back to understanding they are lost. They need your prayers. This is not Christ-like. I sent my son to seek and save those that were lost. And I was one. I was full of myself. So, can they be saved? Absolutely. God can find them and bring them back. They might have habits they need to work on, and God will do that. But don't listen to some quack out there telling you to leave, because that may not be God's design. And I don't care if he stamps God all over his words. The fact that he showed his heart by what he said and how excited he gets over narcissists getting theirs, that tells me that that has nothing to do at all with Christ's love. We're supposed to pray for our enemies and those that persecute us. Don't be a victim. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to start getting on more. I'm going to start really focusing on news again, because God called me on this channel to be a watchman. I've gotten away from that. And I think that's the enemy making me busy so that I'm not doing God's work. So keep your eye on what's going on out there in the news, and understand how it fits into world events, how it affects Israel, and every step we're taking, we're getting closer to the rapture of the church. So be ready, be watching, keep looking up, keep praying for others. Remember, there's only two types of people, lost and saved. If you're one of the lost, it's time to get saved. If you're one of the saved, pray for those. Reach out to those that are lost. Because we are Jesus' hands and feet right now. So, I hope everybody has a great day. I hope to see you in the air. I love you. I'll pray for you.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.